Um, yeah. Next, upon our objective was looking at a single country. So we want one country. We want to look at a single country and kind of isolate just their data. So let's say we want to look at a country like Nigeria, with their lots of deaths. Let's see what their country looks like. Say filtering by country. So let's see what the Nigerians look like. So we'll create a new object called Nigeria, and then we'll give it similar treatment to what we did with the other thingies. So we'll say Nigeria, or new object. We'll take the malaria national data again. Then we say group by sorry, we first filter it out. Should be the filter, yeah, filter entity. Yeah, it's entity, right? I think the countries are called entities. Yeah, so entity should be Nigeria. So Nigeria. So yeah, so see the Nigeria function now comes, so we only have Nigeria code. So we only have like Nigeria's numbers now. Anyway, so we figured it out for like Nigeria, but we also wanted it to be grouped. So we'll group it by like we'll group it by year. Oops, group by year. So group by year, 1990, in order. And then summarize and say, do the thing we did this with this here. You better not do this. I hope you're not doing this, because it's not good for you. It's good for me, but but like it's not good for you. So we've taken Nigeria's data and we've isolated it like that. Yeah, so just taking Nigeria, the total deaths in 1990 up to 2016. I think we can continue. And the last, not the last thing, but close to the last thing will be creating a new column which shows which countries have high burden and which countries don't have high burden. So if you have a data set and you want to group data and you want to ask the computer which columns, which countries or which years had high burden, excuse me, then yeah, we'll just create a new column for it and we'll ask it, if we'll give it an arbitrary range, not an arbitrary range, but whatever we determine is high burden. So we'll say the malaria national data, and then we'll, how mutate. Okay, let's say high burden. Sometimes you might want to overwrite your old data. It's not recommended so much, but in this case, since it's giving us a more in-depth look into what we're dealing with, then yeah. Also, we can just always not save this. But yeah, try to avoid overwriting your typical data. It's really not good, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to overwrite this, and then we're going to mutate, and we're going to create a new. We're going to say high burden is equal to high burden equals deaths greater than 110,000, and So go back to our malaria national data, and what it's done is it's gone and showed and told us, in Afghanistan there were less than 10,000 deaths, therefore high burden is not high burden. Let's find somewhere with high burden. Wow, not a lot of places with greater than 10,000 deaths. Well, let's reduce our range. Let's say 1,000. So yeah, in Angola in 2004, there were less than 10,000. There were less than 1,000 deaths. There were greater than 1,000 deaths. Therefore, that was a high burden year for malaria, according to our, random arbitrary range. So, another thing is we can try to find out which countries, which countries had high burden. So take the malaria national data. We'll filter it out for we'll say high burden. So filter it out for countries with high burden. So it's given us, this small table here. And then we'll take account of the countries. And we'll take account of the countries where they did have high burden. And it's these. So in Congo, 135 times, and then slice max. So n equals 10. So bring out the top 10. Wait. Just count. Okay, so countries with the highest burdens. Congo had a really high burden, like really bad. Or is it? So Congo had a lot of high death rate from 1990. Like there were more than 1,000 deaths in Congo. So like in 1990 there were more than 1,000 deaths all the way up to the very end of it. So Congo definitely had the highest. Burden rate. Malaria national data. We have figured it out. We've asked it to take out only those things that had high burdens, only those rows with high burdens. So keep in mind it's sorted according to. We still have all the age groups, right? So we have all these age groups and stuff. So how many times does the high burden appear? So we've just taken the top 10 countries here. So essentially, this should produce. So essentially, what this should do is produce a list of top 10 countries with the highest burden rate. N is just the number of rows that is showing up that this has showed up with this is just the number of rows that has showed up with the highest number of burden rate. So it means DRC Congo had 135 rows where they have high burden. So I'll give an example. Nigeria has 135 rows of which are high burdens. We had isolated Nigeria already. So if you look at Nigeria, you realize there are 135 entries. So if you combine all the 15 to 49, if you combine all the age group years across all the spectrums, 135 entries, which means for each of these there are over 1,000. The deaths were over 1,000, which means for every year and every age group, it was, this is arbitrary, it was high burden. You can adjust that as you need to according to what exactly you're doing, but essentially that's how it works. Yeah, I hope you guys learned something. Remember what we did in this module. We took the malaria, when we reread the malaria data we had saved last time. We took a glimpse of the malaria national data. We summarized it, calculated the deaths according to age, checked out the top 10 countries which had the highest number of deaths, checked out the annual trends, filtered it by country, checked it out according to high burden, and yeah, and then we checked out which countries had the highest burden. Yeah, so the final thing is just to, save the data. So make sure you save it well. Make sure you save the variables that you want to use again last time. For example, deaths by age, top 10 countries, annual trend, and trends by age. So right RDS is, we'll say deaths by age, comma, deaths by age dot RDS. Please don't forget the dot RDS because you miss a lot of things if you don't. So write RDS something, top 10 countries, top 10 countries, and annual trend. And then trend by age. Trend by age, say trend by age. So yeah, that's complete. We're not going to save malaria nation again because we can work with it from the previous one. I don't really want to mess it up from what I had before. I don't need this column at the moment. It was for this particular function. So yeah, we're gonna leave it as it was. I told you don't overwrite it. That's why I'm not gonna save it now. So yeah, so thanks for watching.